Ah, that's better. After 3 straight years of hit-and-miss manias, we finally got an out-and-out good one. And not just good, great even. WrestleMania 28 was chiefly sold on the once-in-a-lifetime encounter between Rock and John Cena, which was better than anyone thought it would be, but it was stuffed full of nice matches too. Punk versus Jericho, Kane versus Orton, and of course, the immense end-of-an-era Hell in a Cell match pitting Triple H versus The Undertaker. It was a properly huge WrestleMania, which makes sense considering that it broke all sorts of mental records for the company, and John Cena lost in Miami. Haha. F*** you, John. No, but seriously, I really like John Cena now, but back then, f*** you, mate. Ha ha ha. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and here are 10 fascinating facts about WrestleMania 28. Number 10, WWE had to let TNA borrow Christian so that Ric Flair could appear at the Hall of Fame. When it was announced that the Four Horsemen were entering the WWE Hall of Fame in 2012, that naturally meant a second induction for Ric Flair, who is more synonymous with the group than anyone else. The problem was, despite us trying not to think about that, Flair was under contract with TNA at the time, and despite WWE's resolute advertising that Flair would be inducted, they were stepping into a legal hornet's nest. To mollify TNA and allow for Flair to appear on a WWE telecast, WWE permitted TNA to use former 2-time NWA champion Christian at their Slammiversary pay-per-view in June. At the event, Christian, by this point WWE's Intercontinental Champion, made the announcement of TNA's #1 moment as part of a list that had been counted down throughout the night. Number 9, Sheamus knew the fans would turn on him over the 18 seconds. Feels good to be Daniel Bryan and Sheamus, right? After getting bumped from the main show 1 year earlier, the two were looking forward to showing everyone what they could do for the World Championship, no less. 18 seconds. Maria Menounos got in more offensive mania than the American Dragon. Bryan eventually recovered from the indignity thanks in large parts to the fans rallying behind him, with Daniel Bryan and Yes chants being heard later that very night. Sheamus wasn't so lucky. His babyface character was one-dimensional enough, and now he's about to crush a beloved indie darling. If anything, the short-sighted booking harmed him far more than it did the man he beat, and he knew it going in. Number 8, Big Show was supposed to face Shaquille O'Neal on this show as well, and it also didn't happen. When the big Aristotle briefly skirmished with Big Show during a 2009 Monday Night Raw appearance, the logical next step was to see if Shaq would be interested in an actual wrestling match. Seemed like a slam dunk. And I'm just going to pause and let that joke land. After Shaq retired from basketball in 2011, a Show Shaq match appeared to be set, with the 4-time NBA champion even publicly stating that it was on. However, WWE released a statement in mid-February 2012 that denied such a match would be taking place. O'Neal was still insisting 6 weeks before the show that he would be working the match, but WWE quietly moved on, plugging Show versus Cody Rhodes instead. Number 7, Maria Menounos worked her match with 2 broken ribs. Another celebrity admirer of Big Vince is Maria Menounos, the energetic TV host who has to date wrestled 4 different matches for the WWE. That's weird. At 28, she would team with Kelly Kelly to face Beth Phoenix and Eve Therese in what was actually a fine match, and one that was 21 times longer than Daniel Bryan's. Fun fact. Also, Menounos worked it while in considerable pain. At the time of the match, Menounos was also a contestant on Dancing with the Stars, the American version of Strictly Come Dancing for those in the UK, and had broken 2 ribs during rehearsal for the show. The Wrestling Observer also says that she sustained a stress fracture in her foot despite her injuries. Is it Menounos? Menounos. I don't care. Managed to rank a solid Lawrence Taylor on a celebrity wrestling scale, which is under Mayweather and Amell in terms of ability, but above Snooki and Jay Leno. Number 6, The Undertaker requested Jim Ross for the end of an era match. 2 years previous, Undertaker and Shawn Michaels lobbied to get good old JR to call their streak versus career match at WrestleMania 26 to no avail. McMahon reportedly decreed that WWE couldn't keep living in the past, cough, Goldberg as world champion, cough, and felt the present announced team should always have the honors. McMahon, however, had a change of heart at Mania 28, and a goatee Jim Ross turned up prior to the end of an era Hell in a Cell match. Reportedly, The Undertaker went to McMahon once more, telling him that Ross's voice would be appropriately matched up with the Attitude Era throwback match, and McMahon did comply, granting his and everyone with ears their fondest wish. Number 5, Jerry Lawler made fun of somebody's heart attack in a throwaway line. Team Teddy versus Team Johnny was okay. That's what it was. It was okay, and served as a final death knell for Zack Ryder's run at the top. When Laurinaitis entered in his suit, Lawler joked that suit is so ugly it would give Brother Love a heart attack. For those in the know, Brother Love's portrayer, Bruce Pritchard, had suffered a few minor heart attacks little more than a week before WrestleMania. At the time, Pritchard was working behind the scenes for TNA in a similar role to what Laurinaitis had in WWE, and whether Lawler meant the joke good-naturedly towards his ex-co-worker is unclear, but karma has a way of working itself out, as Lawler eerily suffered an on-air heart attack less than 6 months later. Number 4, Chris Jericho wanted to tattoo CM Punk. Most of the story surrounding Punk's WWE Championship match with Jericho centered around Y2J cruelly pointing out the history of substance abuse in his family. According to Jericho, the feud would have been even more personal, as he wanted to pull an Aldo Rain and give Punk a little something he couldn't take off. Jericho proposed the idea of tattooing his initials somewhere on Punk, the tattoo of Jericho, ink it in, man. Punk liked the idea because after all, he's got the Pepsi symbol on his body, so why the f not? And even offered to fly in his regular tattoo artist to teach Jericho the basic way of inking someone else's skin. The plan, however, fell apart a month before the show when Jericho was informed that McMahon rejected the idea. He didn't want Punk to end up bleeding on television during the procedure and thus wasn't willing to take the risk. Number 3, John Cena prevented Brodus Clay's segment from being cut. On one hand, it's a selfless act on Cena's part that would make even his most ardent haters say, "Aww." On the other, given that Brodus Clay's inane mama dance bit went longer than 18 seconds, maybe f*** you, John. According to the Funkasaurus, the segment was in great danger of being cut for time reasons, was on the chopping block just prior to coming up on the format. Cena, whose main event with The Rock would follow the bit, intervened and announced, "I'm going to the bathroom. Brodus, what do you think, like 8 minutes?" Clay understood what Cena was doing and agreed. John went to the John in order for Brodus Clay to have a WrestleMania moment. That's pretty cool. The dancing was not. Number 2, it's the only time The Rock has ever won a WrestleMania main event, by which I mean last match of the night. It doesn't matter what WWE tells you, you can't have 4 main events on one show. That said, holy Brahma bullshit, how did Dwayne Douglas Johnson not win a WrestleMania main event until after he conquered Tinseltown a few times over? The Rock lost 3 straight WrestleMania main events between 15 and 17, and it wasn't until dropping Cena with emphatic rock bottom that he got to close the show as the victor. The Miz won a WrestleMania main event before The Rock did. Life is weird. And number 1, it did the highest buy rate in WWE history. 5 years after Donald Trump and Vince McMahon's ego-driven war over follicles set a new wrestling high mark with 1.2 million buys, WrestleMania 28 squeaked past that number by a mere 17,000 to take the crown. To this day, it's up on WrestleMania 23 by 1.42%. If you ever wonder why WWE keeps on trotting The Rock back to center stage, remember, Vince loves money, he loves lots of money, and The Rock is lots of money. The advent of the WWE Network means it's unlikely WWE will ever see a buy rate like that in the traditional sense ever again. The buy rate record for WrestleMania 28 will stand forever. For that reason, perhaps end of an era should have been the tagline to the entire show. And that's our list. Did we miss any out? Tell us about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter here, and you can follow Justin Henry, the man who writes these articles, on Twitter here. I'm Adam from WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.